Hi everybody, this is Evan with POS Portal. My voice might sound familiar to some of you or most of you. What we're going to walk through today is I'm going to show you how P2 works on a mobile device. But in order to kind of frame up this whole demonstration today, I want to tell a brief story. So the story is going to be, I'm a sales rep and maybe I've been assigned a lead or maybe I've created a lead myself. I'm going to act like I'm going to work on the lead a little bit on my computer in my office or at home. And then I'm going to jump over to the iPad simulator and show you what this looks like on an iPad and how I would go through this process as a sales rep on my mobile device in front of the merchant out in the field. So we'll create a lead. We'll add a little bit of information about the merchant. Once we've added that information about the merchant, we'll jump over to the iPad and show you adding some additional data as well as dealing with the online application. And then we'll show you the electronic signature process. Now at the end of the presentation, I'll go ahead and unmute everybody to see if there are any additional questions. During the presentation, please, if you have any questions and you think of them, go ahead and type them into the chat box. That way I can address them as soon as the presentation's over. We'll have some time for questions. And after that point, we'll go ahead and end the webinar, and everybody will be followed up by one of the sales reps just to make sure you don't have any additional questions or comments about what you saw today. So you'll definitely get a follow-up email or phone call just to make sure that everything's clear and that you didn't have any additional questions. So for everybody on the phone, this is Evan with POS Portal. And I'm going to go ahead and show you how P2 works on a mobile device. So let's say that I'm a sales rep and that either I was assigned a lead from my manager or a lead came in from a referral partner. And I received an email, so I know the name of the lead is Club Pheasant. So when I log into P2 in my office, I'm going to come up to the search box. I'm going to go ahead and key in Club Pheasant. Now there's the Club Pheasant account that I'm looking for. And if you look at this account, it's still in the lead status. Now, what I want to do with this account is, let's say, for example, now I got this lead, but there's some limited data. It's missing some information about the merchant. Maybe I want to see if I can pull up the owner's name, or maybe I want to see if there's any additional address information. Well, just like our merchant discovery feature that allows you to discover new merchant locations around you, our merchant discovery feature will also allow you to append merchant data. So you got all this information from a lead, maybe from a referral partner, but it's definitely incomplete. So while I'm in front of my desktop, I want to go ahead and click on the data or the append data button. Now this button goes ahead and populates the name of the merchant, the city, and the state, because it's going to perform a detailed search to make sure that there's no missing data that I don't have on the merchant record. Go ahead and click search. Now P2 is going to connect out to our merchant discovery APIs, and they're going to go ahead and say, all right, we found Club Pheasant. Here they are. Here's Club Pheasant, and we're going to go ahead and click the box to say I would like to append this Club Pheasant data. Now it's going to present to me all the additional data that I have in P2, all the old value, and then the new value that it's going to append in blue. It's also going to show me any additional contact information that I might have about this merchant. You can see there's no contact information here right now. I think there was already some contact information on this merchant when I filled it in. So what I want to do is go ahead and click confirm. Now we've confirmed and we've actually updated all the merchant data. So look at everything that we got from the data append. First of all, we had the phone number, but it went ahead and got us the fax number. It confirmed that the address was correct. It went ahead and grabbed some Street View maps and some Google Maps for us so we could see exactly where the merchant's located. And went ahead and filled in the primary contact, the owner's name of the business. And it gave me some additional data like SIC code, description, annual sales volume, employee count. Now let's scroll down and you can see here that there's two contacts listed. There was one original contact and then an additional contact. Now, we're going to go ahead and click in to make sure that this contact has the information that we need. So there's the first and last name, and there's an email address. So we're good to go ahead and save it. So let's say that I'm the sales rep now, and I'm going to go ahead and make a phone call out to this merchant. and I'm going to go ahead and attempt to qualify them. Now I've called the merchant, I've qualified them, and the merchant says, why don't you come on down and let's do an appointment. The merchant has emailed me over a copy of their statements, and the merchant's ready for a statement analysis, and they want me to come on location. So I'm going to go ahead and schedule a new event for myself. Scheduling a new event is just scheduling on my calendar so that I know exactly who, when, and where I have this appointment. So let's say that the appointment is for later on today, and let's go ahead and make it for, let's say 1 p.m. We'll go ahead and put the subject as meeting, and we know it's the Merchant Club Pheasant, and it's related to a merchant, right? We'll go ahead and scroll down, and let's say we want it to remind me 15 minutes before, and I can go ahead and see a little slice of my calendar for today, and it looks like I'm definitely free at 1 o'clock. So let's go ahead and save it. Now, if you scroll down, you can see on the open activities, I have an appointment scheduled for myself for later today. So let's jump back out to my home screen. So there's my home screen, and there's my appointment for Club Pheasant right there. Now, guys, I'm going to go ahead and jump into my iPad simulator. So here's my iPad simulator. Now, I know that this might look kind of weird because you have the screen behind you, but this simulator allows me to simulate exactly what P2 will look like on an iPad or a mobile device, right? So here we are logged into the mobile device. Now I can move the screen up and down just like I would any other mobile device. But let's go ahead and do this. Let's click into home again. And I want to refresh because there's my Club Pheasant meeting that was just scheduled. So now I'm the sales rep. I've left my office. I'm out in the field and I'm doing my calls for today. And it comes up close to 1 o'clock. And now I'm like, okay, well, here's my appointment for 1 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and it's going to take me into the details about the meeting. Now, maybe I had keyed in some additional information, an attachment, right? Some additional information about the location, but maybe I didn't. Once I'm here, I can go ahead and click on the Club Pheasant, and it's going to take me directly into that merchant record. So here I am in the Club Pheasant merchant record. Now, guys, remember that we're on a mobile device here, right? So there might be some pinching and zooming that's required. But we just want to let you know and demonstrate that this is all fully, you can do all these activities. Everything can be performed here directly on your mobile device. So here I am. I have actually appended the merchant data. So I'm on my mobile device. I can see where I'm going map-wise. I can see Street View. And it's time to go ahead and meet with the merchant. So I'll go ahead now, and I'm sitting in front of the merchant, and maybe the merchant's giving me some additional information, like a website address. So go ahead and click on edit. I'm going to come in, I'm going to go ahead and edit some of this information. So maybe I know the address of the website. Right? And maybe I know a little bit of other information. Maybe I have some other detailed information, right, about their location, their cross streets. And maybe I want to update their information SIC code wise. Number of locations. Maybe they have 2 locations I don't know about. Here I'm able to update all of this information here about the merchant. Once I'm done, I'm going to go ahead and save it. Now, if you look, it's updated the address. So there's the www.clubpheasant. Now, as I'm selling to the merchant, I'm going to be collecting and adding as much data as I can in here about the merchant. Now, we're going through the sales process. And we'll say, for example, now that I've went ahead and I've taken a picture of the merchant statement and their business license, and I'm ready to attach those into P2. But instead of handling that by a scanner or an email, I can use the camera on my mobile device, go ahead and select the attachment I want to attach, and now my device is going to go ahead and look on the hard drive and say, hey, where's the photo I want to attach? Now, granted, guys, this is a simulator, so I haven't actually taken a picture. But if there was a picture on my device, here's where I would actually select the picture of the application, the outside of the business location, the inside, maybe a copy of their business license. Any information that I have to help with the deal, I'll go ahead and attach here directly from my photos. Now, we've attached some documents here directly under attachments. And now the merchant is interested in discussing the sale, right? They're ready to go ahead and get signed up for merchant services and maybe some additional products. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and create a new deal. So we're going to click on the new deal button here. And here we're creating a new deal, and we're saying, all right, this merchant, deal for existing merchant, Club Pheasant, right? Club Pheasant is interested in a merchant processing. So go ahead and click Save. Now here we are in the deal. Now granted, guys, remember I'm on my iPad this whole time, so I'm still on my mobile device, right? And here we are in the deal. Now, as the sales rep, I can go ahead and fill in some additional information, things like forecasted close date if I want, forecasted monthly revenue. I can also go ahead and move the deal through additional stages. Now I'm just clicking on the screen, moving it into analysis. We'll go ahead and move it into proposal because I'm doing the proposal now directly with the merchant. Maybe I added some notes here about the merchant conversation. So just want to show you that all this works on a mobile device, guys. So you're going to add a note here. There's the note that I added about the merchant, right? So now we're ready to go ahead and get the application filled out. So at this point, I'm in the proposal stage. I'm going to go ahead and move the deal ahead to the application stage. Here I am in the application stage. I'm going to go ahead and click on New Online Application. Now, in this example of my demo, I've actually set it up where I have multiple processor apps built into P2. So for this example, I'm going to go ahead and just select the first data. Now, here's the app that's loaded up on my iPad. Now, if you can see here, it's populated as much information as we know about. Some of our clients, we fill out a lot more information automatically than other clients. In this particular example, I need to go ahead and fill in some information here with these top 5 fields because it won't let me generate a PDF of the application until I've filled in this data. Let's go ahead and put some information in here. Now, granted, guys, I know what you're thinking. You might not know the merchant number, right, during the application process. This is just an example. Right, we can set it up to where you're not required to fill in the merchant number during this process. So once I've filled in this information with the merchant, right, I've got all this information filled in, I can go ahead now and save the application. Now I'm saving all the data that I've added to the app, but let's say a couple different scenarios could happen right now. So maybe I'm sitting in front of the merchant, I'm keying in additional information onto these fields, things like contact name, other information. I'm really filling out the whole app. But the merchant gets busy and he says, hey, why don't you just send me the application and I'll complete it later and let's finish this later. So I'm going to go ahead and save the app, but instead of just saving the PDF to my desktop and sending it to the merchant, I'm going to use our Send to Merchant feature. And I'm actually going to go ahead and click on Send to Merchant. And I'm going to fill in the merchant's email address and send the merchant a link. Send the merchant a link directly to this application to where the merchant then logs in and fills out and completes the app securely with a login and a password, right? So it's a great way for you to collaborate with the merchant from a remote location, but still allow them to contribute to the application. Let's go ahead and scroll back down to that deal. All right, so we're back in the deal. We're going back to the app. So let's say the other scenario is now instead of sending the application to the merchant, let's say that we're done with the app. We've completed the entire app. We're ready to go ahead and get it signed by the merchant. So what I want to do now, guys, I'm going to go ahead and click Generate Merchant Application. By clicking Generate Merchant Application, it's taking a snapshot of the PDF where I have it right now. Right? It's taking a snapshot of that app and it's creating a PDF. So here's that PDF I created right here. Now we also have the original online app that I made, but I have the PDF that I'm going to use for a signature now. Now with P2, we've integrated signatures in several different ways. First of all, we've allowed you to do the traditional send with DocuSign feature. Now some of you have already used an electronic signature piece. You're familiar with how it works. You're basically sending a template to the merchant. They're going to open their email, and inside that email, And inside that email, they're going to be directed to the DocuSign website where they're actually going to complete the signature process. But we wanted to make this process a little bit more personal and make it to where you can actually sign the application in front of the merchant. Let's go ahead and just get it signed on the spot. Let's complete the process, make it really easy. So we set it up to do an embedded signing. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Sign Now. By clicking on Sign Now, what it's doing is it's actually launching the DocuSign experience inside of P2. So here I am directly in front of the merchant on the iPad. You'll turn the iPad around to the merchant. They will read this message. It'll have your brand here. I agree to do business electronically with your ISO or whatever your name brand is. The merchant will go ahead and click Agree to do business electronically, and they'll click Review Documents. Now the iPad wants to go ahead and grab your current location so it knows where you are. So here in this example, I can see the app. Here's the PDF that I created. Then as the merchant, I can scroll down on the iPad. I can see that everything as it's supposed to be. I'm going to go ahead and click Next. It's going to go ahead and show me where I needed the signature to happen. If you can notice here, I'm also getting emails as a sales rep telling me, hey, you know, that your merchant has opened up the DocuSign document. This way you're getting email alerts. Even if you emailed the application to the merchant for signature, you're still getting emails. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the sign here. Now this box pops open that wants you to actually draw out your signature or an adoption of your signature or what your signature would look like. Now granted, guys, I'm going to do this with my mouse. But on a device or a mobile pad, I would be doing this with my finger. So let's go ahead and see how well I can do this here. All right, so there's my signature as best I could do with the mouse. We'll go ahead and adopt and sign. So now what DocuSign's done is it's placed a placeholder of that signature, as well as you can't see it because it's mixed in with my name, but it's actually a unique identifier number to represent based on, you know, this particular signing to represent that this was an original signing. Every unique signature or every signing ceremony, they call this, or every process is actually given a unique number to verify that that was a unique signature. Go ahead and click in Owner. And I'm going to go ahead and put in Next. It tells me that I'm done. I'm going to go ahead and complete the process. Congratulations, you've signed it. All recipients have signed. I'm going to return to the deal. And now it's going to take me back in. It takes a minute or two for DocuSign to send back the signed version of the PDF. But that signed version will drop back in here under Attachments. And then as a sales rep, once I've reviewed everything and it looks good to go, I'm going to go ahead and move it ahead to QA. Now, if you noticed, I also got some email alerts telling me that it's been complete and that the application's been signed. So I know everything's good to go. I'm going to go ahead and click it ahead and move it to QA. And again, guys, I'm doing all this on my iPad. I'll confirm that all the documents are there that I'm supposed to present, and I'll submit it. Now, a couple things to keep in mind, guys, when we talk about mobile and P2. So first of all, you all know that we're built on the Salesforce.com platform. Well, Salesforce has several different free mobile apps that exist. One is their Salesforce app that exists on the App Exchange, or excuse me, that exists on the iTunes as well as the Android, the Google Play Store. There's also an app called Logger. Now, both of those apps allow you to access your P2 org or your instance without logging in through a browser. Now, the Salesforce app is a very nice app. It allows you to see your calendar. It allows you to log calls, to schedule events, to do certain things like that. It allows you pretty nice access into P2. But as you guys all know, we've done some heavy modification to Salesforce to create our own P2 product so that there's quite a bit of unique functionality that takes a little bit of time to get used to on the mobile app. So we've got the mobile app for Salesforce. We also have Logger app. It's from Salesforce Labs. The Logger app allows you to log data into P2 in a much simpler format than logging into an actual org, or it's more simple than actually coming in through the Salesforce app itself. It's very similar to like text messaging in notes for appointments, text messaging in locations. You can check in places. So those are both free apps that allow you to access P2 and allow you to access your data. Everything I've shown you today has been done through the Safari browser on an iPad. So guys, that shows you that you don't need a mobile app to do everything that P2 allows you to do. You can do things like adding your merchant data. You can do things like updating merchant data. You can do things like creating online apps, going through the sales process, attaching documents, getting the signature. So the way that we've set up P2 means that it works very, very well on mobile devices. But guys, let's be honest, you don't expect to do all of this on an iPhone. The screen is just plain too small. Now, we've done some testing on the iPhones, and granted, you can open all these pages and do everything I've shown you today, but it's painfully small. So all of this information, all these features work on an Android device across all other applications. And one of the big reasons, guys, that we don't do apps is, first of all, it works great through a browser. There's no need to ever actually create an app. And number two, apps that are installed on your device sometimes tend to store merchant data, personal identification information. We don't want any of that data stored at all. We want it all put into the cloud and made available through the cloud instead of that data being stored on a device. That way there's no liability if maybe that's your own personal iPad. There doesn't end up being any personal data stored directly on that iPad. So that concludes how P2 is mobile. Now, granted, guys, there's a lot more that we're able to do, and we'll do more webinars about P2 being mobile and show you some more of the features and functionalities on an iPad in the simulator so you can see how all that behaves. But that's the sales process. That's receiving a lead, working it, appending the data using data append, part of our merchant discovery tool, creating an online app using our online app, and then signing the document using DocuSign to complete the entire process. So that took me up to right about a half hour. Guys, I see that I have some questions chatted into the chat box. So I'm going to go ahead now and take some time and I'll answer the questions that were chatted in. If I don't have an answer for you guys, I'll go ahead and follow up with you immediately and make sure that we get your questions answered. And once I've answered all the chat-in questions, what we'll go ahead and do is I'll unmute everybody and see if there's any verbal questions. Okay, so what version of the FD is available and when the newer version comes out? So it looks like we've got a good question from Todd here. All right, so what version of the FD is available when the newer version comes out in April? When will that be available? So which version of the FD is available? So guys, when it comes to what apps you're using, we'd definitely like to speak with you about it and, find out what version of app you have. We need to get a copy of your app and make sure that you don't have anything specific or custom. So each app we build into P2 is a custom job. So it's not something where you just come to us and say, hey, I want the first data app. Obviously, there's lots of different versions. There's wholesale, there's retail. We need to view your app, make sure that we view all the different versions that you're using, and that we're on the same page about what versions that we're going to go ahead and get built for you and what version that you're building or that you're using. Can you hard code application fields for pricing? Yes, we can hard code application fields for pricing. So maybe you have some pricing, some floors that you don't want your reps to go any lower than a specific floor. We can set those floors as part of the application experience. That way your reps can't come in and change the pricing off of what you want. It's hard coded, it's electronic. There's no way for them to manipulate that. Is there any additional functionality in the iPad app versus running P2 in a Safari desktop? So really when it comes down to functionality, I mean, obviously you're in a browser both ways. So you're going to be able to access full functionality through both browsers. But let's be real, guys. You know, on an iPad, there are going to be certain things that aren't going to be that enjoyable to do. They might be tedious. You're going to have to pinch and zoom. So the real answer to that question is you can access all features of P2 through any browser on any device. It's just that the size of the iPad screen or an 8 or 10-inch tablet is the right size to be able to interact with P2 and do additional things like ticketing, customer service, right? All of that is also doable and completely available through P2 through a browser. Thanks for those chatted in questions. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and unmute everybody from the audio to see if there's any additional questions verbally. I'm going to hang out for a while to make sure no questions come up. So I'm going to go ahead and unmute everybody. If you have me on speaker, guys, please make sure that you mute me so we're not all listening to any background conversations that you might be having. So give me just a second while I get everybody unmuted. All right, I think I got everybody. Any additional questions from anybody out there, guys? All right. Well, I'm going to hang out for a little bit to make sure that there are no additional questions. Again, there will be a recording of this available on our YouTube channel. And I really appreciate everybody's time in joining me today. I'm going to hang out for another 5 minutes or so and make sure there's no additional questions that come up. We'll make sure that we send out a follow-up email, guys, to make sure there's no additional questions. If you do have any pressing or any urgent issues or any questions you want to ask immediately, please feel free to reach out to Todd or any additional, any of your account reps or your sales reps or anybody else that you might have been speaking with at P2 or at POS Portal about P2. So that way we can make sure that we get all your questions and your concerns answered. Well, I will take that silence as an indication that we did a great job illustrating P2 and how mobile P2 is. So I'm going to go ahead now and end the webinar, guys. I appreciate your time today. Again, we'll have recorded versions of this available. So thanks everybody for your time. Have a great Thursday, and we'll see you on the next webinar.